We have made our buttery gluten-free bread. We have made our bagels. We have made our artisan bread. Now it's time to start thinking about something that maybe you're curious about, but maybe never had the courage to try, and that's sourdough. So we're going to dip our toes into some gluten-free sourdough baking today. But we need to begin at the beginning because chances are good you don't have access to gluten-free sourdough starter. So before we even think about making the bread, we have to establish a ripe sourdough starter that is also gluten-free. So what you need for that, ingredients, you'll need the gluten-free bread flour, you'll need some water, and you'll need some time. Equipment, some kind of container that's going to hold it all. Initially, it won't seem like a lot, but as it begins to ferment and build volume, you'll want something that will be large enough to hold the total amount and not overflow. It can be any non-reactive metal, food-grade plastic, ceramic, glass. Doesn't have to be fancy, but something maybe you'll want to look at for a couple weeks, potentially, because it can take a while. So what I have here is a crock that I'm going to be using. I'm going to use a scale because it's the most accurate. I have a whisk, which I find very helpful for any looser pre-ferments, as we learned in our artisan bread. What are we even doing? If the ingredients are flour and water, why are we mixing them every day for 5 to 7 days before we can even use them in a bread? What we're trying to do is cultivate both the wild yeast and bacteria that's already in the flour and allow them to establish residency so that they can then flavor and leaven our bread down the road. But it's a process, and we're gonna trust that process. It can be a long one, and it might have some bumps in the road, but we're gonna trust that everything is okay, and we're gonna put one foot in front of the other and keep going. So let's begin. Day one begins with 120 grams of our gluten-free bread flour and 227 grams of cool water. That's important to keep the temperature cool throughout. We don't want to start too hot. We don't necessarily want to start too cold. It's important to keep it cool throughout. Then I'm going to mix. This time I'm going to use my whisk because it breaks up all of those lumps. When you're talking about something that's 2 parts water to 1 part flour, those lumps sometimes can be flour pockets. So this whisk is really going to break those up well. We're going to pop the cover on and let time do the magic. I'm going to let this sit on my counter at room temperature for about 24 hours.